Dali. I was just going to make a quick comment because this project was funded originally by Scottish Government. It was a short project. It was only 3-4 months long or something like that. So we did a lot of work in a very short time, and it was published. It was, well, completed. The report was published sometime in, when was it? 2007? 2008? I don't know. I get lost with time. It's a while ago. But since then, I think this has been one of the most misused, misrepresented, misquoted projects I've ever been involved with. I mean, right from at the beginning, where it was quoted in the press that we had done, basically what we prepared was an methodology that would allow people in the industry to go out and use their own sites, put in their own data, and produce results. And just to show it worked, or to demonstrate it worked, we put in an example calculation, which was based on a very well managed wind farm that we'd come across during the project. And so we put in this example, and the results that came out of that, you may have seen in the press, was that the Windfarm Payback time, the carbon payback time, was less than 3 years, was it? 3 years. Big splash, headlines in the press, carbon payback time less than 3 years on peatlands. That was not what we were trying to say. That was what this was a very good example of how you could really well manage peatlands and get very low carbon payback time as a result. So it was showing it was possible. But since then, as well as that, people in the industry have been using the carbon calculator, have repeatedly quoted the example as though they are defaults, and used for example, one of the major values, most important values in the calculator is the extent of drainage. So that's a very big effect on the amount of carbon that's lost. And we used an example of 100 metres. It was actually made up. It wasn't a real number. We hadn't got the measurements in the example wind farm we ran, so we just took 100 metres as an example, a mid-range example. And people have repeatedly used this figure and said, so 100 metres, it's not right, it's too big or it's too small. Of course it is. The number that they should be putting in on their wind farm site should be a value that's quoted, that's measured at the site or has calculated at their site. And we try to say very specifically, use these specific values at the site. So really it's a warning before we start off that what we were dealing with is a method, and if you put in rubbish, you'll get rubbish out. That's the way it is for these things. So just as a quick warning, and nowhere were those values defaults.